Merryweather Security versus Eberhard Munitions, perhaps two of the most notorious private militaries in the GTA universe. From being contracted with the government,
Eberhard Munitions, big players. Today they've got every government contract in the business,
to also conducting illegal business. But how do these two huge private military contractors compare against each other? And ultimately, who is the most powerful out of the two militaries? Well, for all of these questions and many more, we finally have the answers in this documentary. To get a better overview of these two, we need to take a look into both private military contractors' past activities. Although at first sight, Merryweather and Eberhard seem to have very similar areas of expertise, then their origin stories are actually really different. Eberhard, being the older one out of the two agencies, was founded in 1995 as mainly a military technology company, quickly rising to be a reliable partner for all of the US military branches, as well as selling their technology and engineering capabilities to many other members of the NATO alliance. It almost acts as a majority aircraft supplier for most of the Western militaries. It is only relatively recently that Eberhard expanded from only producing military technology and equipment to actually also becoming a privately owned military and security company. They have also to this day only operated on the US home soil. Merryweather, on the other hand, has historically had a larger focus on being involved in America's overseas wars, fighting alongside the US military itself. Merryweather was founded in 2003 by this guy, Don Percival. Being an ex-Navy SEAL in the United States military, Don got the idea of starting his own private military company with a few of his buddies from the Navy SEALs. They got the starting capital for Merryweather from helping a coup in the Western African country of Mali, taking themselves control of the country's rich gold mines. Throughout the first years of Merryweather's existence, the private military didn't have clearance to operate on US soil. Rather, they were for most of the time helping the US military all over the world. In 2008, Merryweather finally signed contracts with the US and Canadian governments, which gave them the right to finally also conduct business on home soil. Don chose Los Santos and the state of San Andreas as their main area of operations. They even headquartered themselves into the Los Santos docks. Whilst being active on American soil, the private military company has also expanded its reach from providing on-site standard security services to conducting illegal businesses with the IAA in the humane labs.
So there's this chemical laboratory called Humane Labs. Used to be run by Rashkovsky and Popov's pharma company. A few years ago, it was leased to a shadow company run in part by Don Percival. You guys know Don Percival? Well, he's a warmongering right-wing douche with all the subtlety of a red.
And these expansions of both companies are the areas where both private military contractors' areas of expertise start to overlap each other. Because of that, it raises the obvious question that which of these companies is actually stronger than the other one? Well, simply put, the capabilities of both private military contractors vary significantly, depending on the mission and the time that they have to conduct it in. And don't forget, although both companies have been contracted with the government and the military, then they are very corrupt private companies who also conduct illegal business alongside their contracts on the US soil. Nonetheless, that's not to say it is impossible to figure out who is the more capable private army. Let's start off with the equipment that both private militaries have in service. Starting off with Eberhard, it is not surprising that the most advanced area of their technology is the aerial capabilities, since they have been a mainly aeronautics design and production company for 30 years now. They have themselves produced the likes of the OG Titan, the new enhanced and weaponized Titan 250T, as well as the quite literally most advanced fighter jet in the entire world, the F-160 Raju. Although we have yet to see them actually use the OG Titan and the Raju, then it is most likely that they have these in their own inventories, as they are literally the producers of these aircrafts. But they don't only use aircrafts that they have themselves designed. Eberhard has for most of the time designed very high quality but also extremely expensive aircrafts. When it comes to just transporting illegal goods around San Andreas like they are doing besides the government contract deals, it is a lot more efficient to use older and cheaper aircrafts like the Mogul airplanes. These airplanes can also be seen parked in the new airbase on Tongva Hills, San Andreas. They also use the TH-7 Iron Mule transporter helicopter that they themselves have not produced. Other than the aircrafts, the private security department of the Eberhard security branch uses Blue Canis off-roaders to provide land security for different executives, but also construction sites and other points of interests. These blue vehicles match their blue uniform that they can often be seen wearing. At sea operations, for example guarding cargo ships, the main vehicle in their inventory is the fast and reliable dinghy boat. Anyway, moving on to Merryweather's technology. Merryweather has never produced any of the equipment that they have used throughout the decades. Nonetheless, their equipment has always been top of the line to provide the best possible experience for their customers. Oftentimes, it is even outcompeting Eberhard's technology. To provide land protection, the most usual vehicle of choice for the soldiers is the Mesa off-roader, capable of providing security in both the city and in the countryside. For missions of higher caliber, Merryweather has a huge fleet of insurgent trucks, both regular ones and the weaponized pickup versions. Because Merryweather has a long history of working alongside the US military branches, they can oftentimes borrow equipment from Fort Zancudo for their own private missions, and because of that we can sometimes see Merryweather using the barrack trucks for larger transporting missions, and even Rhino tanks for some very specific missions. While their on-site property protection branch usually uses just the Carin Dilettante patrol vehicles. When talking about sea support, Merryweather uses similarly to Eberhard the black dinghy boats because of their agility and speed, but overall Merryweather has more well-trained mercenaries for their sea operations, as they even have their own headquarters in the Los Santos naval port. Merryweather also provides their boat pickup services for anyone who is able to pay for it. And finally, the air support. This is supposed to be the area that Eberhard overwhelmingly outcompetes the Merryweather security company, but in reality Merryweather has a very competitive fleet even in this field. Until 2013, Merryweather's pearl in their aircraft fleet was undeniably the cargo plane, at the time the largest aircraft in the GTA universe, capable of transporting whole company branches across the world at once. Unfortunately, during the 2013 actions, Merryweather got in the way of Trevor Phillips, because of whom the cargo plane was eventually crashed.
Eagle 2, Fox 2.
I'm hit! I'm hit! Plane's done, Ron! Ron, are you reading?
Oh, your engine's gone! Get out of there, T! You're more valuable than the guns!
Since then, Merryweather has partnered up with the US Marine Corps based in Fort Zancudo to use their Titan aircrafts for bigger transportation operations. For smaller operations, they use their own cargo bobs. They also have a separate fleet for their combat missions. Merryweather is the most known user of the Buzzard attack helicopter, having even made it their kind of a signature aircraft.
Very. Put the gun down, gentlemen. What are they? Merryweather, what are they doing here? Steve, put your gun down.
If they are not using the Buzzard, they can usually be seen using either the Savage or the Annihilator stealth helicopter. They also provide helicopter pickups, but not with the weaponized aircrafts, but with Mavericks, also used by regular civilians. Knowing that, it can be understood that both private military corporations have very competitive fleets for all terrains and environments. At this stage, it becomes more important to understand how well are both companies' mercenaries really trained. To start comparing both companies' personnel, we need to first clarify that both companies have many different branches, some of which are not exactly related to direct military combat. Merryweather has their on-site property protection branch, branch, which isn't heavily weaponized, neither are the guards exceptional soldiers. They are quite regular security guards with maybe a bit more experience than regular mall cops. Same thing with Eberhard. Eberhard still has their research and development branch open, which is completely responsible for the engineering of great military equipment. Most of the branch's employees are quite regular scientists and designers who don't have any real combat training, while at the same time the private military branches of both companies are again very level on level with each other. Both companies only hire personnel with a military background. All hired soldiers also get extensive training before they are formed into a private military unit. So all in all, who would come out as the more superior one out of the two private military contractors? Well, in terms of personnel and equipment, they are basically at the same level, having both worked with numerous government organizations as well as the Navy, Air Force, Army and the Marine Corps. It really comes down to who just has more experience on the field, and here's where Merryweather just might have a slight edge. It is very recently that Eberhard started their own private military, which means that they have yet to gain any real experience from it. They have also only operated in the border region of the US and not in overseas operations, unlike Merryweather, who was quite literally born from them. While we can discuss who would win out of these two in the battlefield, to which the answer might just slightly bend to Merryweather's corner, then in reality there will never be such a battle. That's because Eberhard as a private military organization only exists because of the inactivity from Merryweather during the recent years. You see, throughout the GTA 5 action, Trevor Phillips as well as our online character fought and won many battles against Merryweather, which ultimately resulted in them losing credibility and financial assets to provide security services for their customers. In 2023, our online character and Charlie Reed formed the Los Santos Angels that once and for all took down Merryweather, resulting them even losing the last government contracts. Since then, Eberhard realized there was a need on the market for someone to replace Merryweather, and they stepped in quickly to provide services for the US government. Although that doesn't mean Eberhard would all of a sudden be clear from the threat of our online character. We have already fought a battle against them with Oscar Guzman, but also a financial battle with the help of Jody Marshall.
Project Breakaway, a secret slush fund feeding every major body in the US. The PD, FIB, IAA, ATF, you name them, Maze Bank handles their bribes. Got the info out of an ex-employee who's running scared, and he should be. The latest name on their payment is some new player in the arms scene, Eberhard Munitions, a serious investment. But as far as we're concerned, this is an easy target. If we funnel the money, nobody can come down on us without acknowledging its existence. Plus, any info we get on Eberhard is an asset we can sell to the highest bidder. All we need is to get through security, locate the servers, and cover our tracks.
So in reality, they are both very similar companies, just in different time eras. Quite like Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Because of their different timeline, they can't really be well compared on a one-to-one scenario. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Merryweather has a slight edge over Eberhard, or do you think that Eberhard is on a completely different level than Merryweather? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, that is it for this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to also check out my other documentaries about the GTA universe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.